The first couple fights, like the nerves got to you, and you're always asking yourself, why do I even do this? Why do I go through all this cutting the weight and going through these camps? But now it's a completely different. I actually like being there. I like being able to fight. I never used to like to train all the time. Especially for fights. I used to, just the nerves would kill you. It made you not want to do it anymore. But ever since I started taking it a lot more serious, I mean, I love being in the camp. I did a fight that was 5-5s and I had a blast. It was like the most unreal thing ever. Everybody knows everybody where I'm from, it's small, quiet, people that grew up there, they don't really move out, they buy a house in Pembroke and raise a family there. And as much as I say I do want to move, somewhere warm, it gets cold as hell in here in the winter. And as much as I would want to move, I don't think I would, I like Pembroke, I like knowing everybody, and I like being close to my family. And, all my family, all my uncles and everything are within a 20-minute ride around here, so I don't think I would ever move, UFC champion or not. This is the only gym I've ever trained at. This is like my second home. Am I waking you guys up?
I feel like I've always been a fighter, deep down inside. I mean, a lot has to do with like growing up and stuff, my parents went around, they were drug abusers and alcoholics, and they just seemed fit. It wasn't them good to raise us. It was like a huge thing, not having your mom and dad around. It kind of does, it does translate to the octagon, wanting to fight, just a little more drive when you get in there. My dad wasn't around. He spent some time in prison and stuff, and now we have the tightest bond ever. I wouldn't be where I am without him. He's a huge support, and he's always there right behind me, helping me out. When my kids are old enough to understand, just being like, hey, your dad did this, be proud, you can do anything you want, you set your mind to it.
Joe Proctor had no intentions of doing MMA. As a matter of fact, we asked him and he said, hell's no. No way, no, don't want to do it. He came from a kind of a tough family background. It was pretty rough in the family. Probably didn't want to get into that. Like, why would he choose to get into that if that's where what his life was coming up? But that's just the Freud in me. So we asked him if he wanted to fight. He said no. Next week we said, we got your fight. He goes, all right, I guess I'll fight. And even after the first round, he was like, get me the hell out of here. Why am I in here? But then in the second round, he got into his rhythm. He won the fight pretty easily. Loved it. All right, when do I fight again?
In my mind, I want to be a champion. I want to win a title. Work my ass off in here. I'm constantly coming in, trying to get with the best guys, and that's my dream, is putting that belt around my waist at least once. As soon as your hands raise, everyone's coming up congratulating you at the end. You really do feel like you're on cloud nine. It's like, it really is the most unbelievable feeling getting that first win. I've fought like guys that weighed in at 150, and they always look like 1,000 times bigger than me. And I'm a big 55er, and I look across the cage. That's the one thing that does scare me, is I look across and I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker is huge. But even though they're not that big, but it's just like, it's crazy how your mind works.
Well, we have another Joe Cushman. He's one of our fighters. One night they were at a party, house party, and there was a brawl, and Joe Proctor cleaned house. And Cushman said, hey, you should come to the gym.
I had a 2004 Cobra, it was a really fast car. I got too many tickets, so I decided to upgrade or downgrade depending on how you want to look at it. But I saw this on a lot and I was like, oh, I really want that. So now it's like a huge thing. Everybody knows I'm the only yellow truck in the tri-star, so it's awesome.
My normal life, I get up at about 6:37. I go and I do carpentry, and I work every day, Monday through Friday. Building houses. I'm always in different houses. I'm always traveling around, but I never give up a job. Like if it's a door, a window, just putting some trim on from big to little, I'll do it all. It takes your mind off of fighting. I'm still a hard-working kid. I'm not ever gonna take anything for granted. This is a chance that I have, and I'm gonna go with it. I gotta work every day to become better. If I just came in here every day and just went through the motions, I wouldn't be in the UFC for another fight.
We literally fight 3 times a week. I mean, what is this kid gonna do that you haven't seen? Like everything he does, we have that here times 100.